You want me to push you?
Yeah. No, I'm not kidding.
No, I know I'm not. I'm not either.
I have a walker and a wheelchair, a clumpy wheelchair. I really am.
You
in a
ready?
wheelchair.
Hey, Susan, we'll
Oh,
see
you
you in a
guys
minute.
go over the ice cream. Get the ice cream.
Okay, ma'am, I'm pushing.
Glad I came over early today. We'll let you guys know.
Testing, testing.
There weren't any results of closed session, but we will be going back in after the meeting adjourns tonight. So please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please no letters about not standing. Approval of the agenda variance, please. We have a second. Amber, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Public hearing. Corey, would you introduce the first item?
So we have 4 public hearings tonight. 23-24 district and OSTA initial proposals for negotiations. Every year we are required to sunshine in front of the public the proposals for OSTA and the district for next year's negotiations. And the initial proposals from the district and OSTA are presented for public discussion. The district will open negotiations in Article 7, hours and days of employment, and Article 19, unit member benefits. OSTA will open negotiations on Article 8, class size, and Article 9, safety conditions of employment. Both proposals have been posted at the district office and at each school site.
This item is now open for public discussion. This item is now closed for public discussion. Any board comments? Okay, item 2, Corey.
So every year, or semi-annual review of the COVID-19 prevention program. We're still required by the state of California and OSHA to have a COVID plan. And so the California Occupational Safety and Health Standards Board approved temporary standards in 2021 to protect the general industry employees. The document has been updated to reflect the current district practices. The document will be reviewed again in August of 2023.
Okay, this item is now open for public discussion. This item is now closed for public discussion. Board discussion. Didn't the president declare COVID was going to die in May? Yeah, it's good to know. All right. That item is now closed. Item 3, Corey.
Arts and Music Block Grant. So one of the state of California awarded the district a block grant of $1.3 million. In the January budget, they've only given us part of it. But in the January budget, the governor is proposing of not awarding the whole $1.3 million to Orla Union or any district in the state of California. But one of the grant requirements is to solicit input from educational partners. So the district surveyed students, staff, parent guardians, and the community and spoke to school administrators, teachers, and library staff to develop priorities. The original allocation of $1.3 million in one-time funds may be adjusted to maybe $892,000. We're not sure, per the governor's original 23-24 budget proposal. So we're bringing it to you to get input from anyone, and then we will bring the plan to you next month for approval.
Okay, this item is now open for public discussion. This item is now closed for public discussion. Board discussion. Okay, that is now closed. Item 4.
So a new requirement in the state of pandemics is the district is required to develop a 2-year pupil transportation plan. And then when it expires, it'll be every year after that. In order for the district to receive additional transportation funding, a 2-year pupil transportation plan must be developed, which includes public input. The draft plan reflects current district practices and how students with disabilities, low income, foster youth, and homeless students will have access to home-to-school transportation at no cost to the student. We will bring this plan back to you next month for approval. It has to be approved by April 1st.
Okay, this item is now open for the public discussion. This item is now closed for public discussion. Board discussion.
Well, as everyone knows, I have quite a few feelings about the transportation as far as our continued service to Oroville City, and the fact that we want to do something different with schools, which we're going to talk about next week, that we're going to be handicapped, which I think we always have, that's my opinion, by, busing the Oroville City kids when they get in the buses, Anyway, so that's my thought about all this, and I don't want to get into a 2-year plan that we have to do when we're just trying to develop our schools.
Well, we're required to have a 2-year plan, so it'll be the rest of this year and next year. So you'll be revisiting it next year.
Well, I know, but I mean, it's always here and then next year, but I mean, we'll still be doing it with the city.
Well, not necessarily, we're year to year, but one of the things we have to build into this is we had to consult with Beeline and air management. And so one of the things that we're looking at is, can the district provide transportation for kids that are inside the zone? So for high school kids, it's a 2-mile radius. So kids that are sitting at 7-Eleven on Table Mountain and Grand theoretically can't ride. But if the district wanted to pay for passes and people would go and sign up for passes, then kids could pick up the bus at 7-Eleven, ride to Oroville High, and then pick up kids that are downtown that our buses don't pick up and take them to Oroville or LP. So it's looking at trying to do a wider net of transportation services. And so Susan and I were on a meeting with Beeline this week, and they said Chico does it, Chico Unified and Chico State. Chico Unified probably pays $2,000 a year for passes, so not a lot of people take them up on it, but it's one of those things that we could offer kids to get to school.
I would like to be able to pick up all of our kids to get to school.
Is there a state law that we have to provide transportation besides special ed?
Only special ed.
Yeah.
So large districts like Sac City Unified don't do a lot of busing because they have all of their schools or most of their schools on the regional transit line.
Okay. That item is now closed. Paula, can you check into the exact time that COVID's supposed to die? Okay. Recognitions and presentations. We got Prospect High School tonight.
Mr. Kerman and Mr. Lund from Prospect are going to talk to you this evening.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us in. Perfect. Okay, thank you for having us come talk tonight. Mr. Lund is here with us, Rockstar staff member that we have at the school, and one of our leaders on campus, Bella, also has a brief little presentation on something that's a passion project for her, and she'll just briefly address the board when we get to that. Just a few things I have. We currently at Prospect have 105 students. We have 18 graduates so far up to this point in the year. I'll be finishing up the remainder of our 12th grade students that are on our wait list that we have room for this week, looking at enrolling them, and then looking at next week starting our 11th graders. So we're kind of getting to the tail end of the year with our last 2 blocks, and we're looking to pick up a lot of the 11th graders that are on our wait list. Starting getting them some credits and getting them involved in the Prospect culture. So far, we have 6 students that are at CDS. 3 students of the 6 are on expulsion. And we've got some good things going on, not only over there, but also at Prospect. Tomorrow, we have a presentation coming in from the South Oroville African American Historical Society. Brenda Harris, we connected with her about a month ago, and we've tightened it up. She's coming in tomorrow. Actually, not her, but she'll have someone from the organization come in and give a 2-hour presentation to some of our students. That'll be there in the main room. So we're super excited that they're coming in. And then we just wanted to definitely thank you. Our additional targeted case manager, Shamika Williams, is a great fit at the school. So thank you again for approving having a second targeted case manager at Prospect and CDS. She's phenomenal, making great connections with students. A lot of good things happening there. And Michael Commander has come over from one of the schools in the district, and Michael is amazing as well. So some positive things going on, making some good connections. So that's what I have for you. I definitely want you to hear from Brad and then Bella as well. She's, like I said, one of our leaders on campus, and she took us up on the invite to come speak. So we're super happy.
Good evening. How are you all? My name is Brad Lund. I'm a teacher at Prospect High School. I'm also the lead teacher there. I got a couple TOSA periods currently as well. I was hoping to get a couple students here, but I didn't make it. More or less to talk a little bit about my Recycled Cycles bike program. I think it's agenda item 22. It's a high-risk activity. But I've been running this Recycled Cycles bike program it's a CTE program for, I think this is our 13th year. I have this really fantastic group of kids right now that are super engaged. They're working every day. They're excited about the class. I think more than anything, it gives them something to be excited to come to school about, which on our campus is sometimes a challenge. So it's great that we have CTE opportunities. And this year, it happened to be better than others. So with that in mind, I said, hey, last year I started an outdoor education program. It's also going to start back up starting next week. Try to get kids off campus into the community, into a bunch of our natural settings and areas on field trips and outings. So I also I help with a mountain biking team, a high school mountain biking team in Chico, and they've donated 4 high-end mountain bikes to our program, help the Recycled Cycles program. So now I have essentially like 6 legitimate mountain bikes. So my plan is to get my students that are in this Recycled Cycles class off campus about every 2 weeks to local trails, Brad Freeman Trail, Potter's Ravine, around Lake Orville area, get them exposed to the areas, get them outside, get them moving. So I just want to share a little bit about that. It's exciting for me to teach. It's exciting for kids to have the opportunity to do it. It's on the CDS campus now. So I'm also doing that with a few kids at CDS who are kind of getting engaged in doing that. So that is that. I did want to just mention, since I'm here, and it's about the Prospect, is our appreciation for Mr. Kerman and the great job that he's doing at the community school at Prospect this year. We're really happy to have him, and things are going well with him at the helm. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sounds great.
And this is Bella Committee.
You see any Olympic hopefuls?
Say it one more time.
Do we have any Olympic hopefuls? Yeah.
I don't know yet. We'll find out.
Okay.
We have fun. Try.
Keep us updated.
Good evening, board members. I would like to thank everybody so much for your time. My name is Bella Camelli. I'm a junior at Prospect High School, which I've been attending for a year. Like many students at Prospect, I attend Prospect for credit deficiency. And I started working on an extra credit project of my own design because I saw how Prospect students' mental health and physical health was affecting them in my own classroom. I'm interested in how the nutritional value in a Prospect student's life affects their motivation to learn. I wanted to understand the correlation between health awareness outside of school and how it is affecting their emotion or their motivation to learn in school. In my classes, it is prominent that some of my peers are distracted or unmotivated to learn. Like, why do students come to school not wanting to learn anything? So I began to ask around, what do you eat when you get home? How much sleep do you get? What do you have for breakfast? And do you eat home-cooked meals or fast food meals? And what motivates you? And other questions such as those. Basically, I'm just trying to understand how aware Prospect students are of their health and how it is affecting their brain so they can have a more successful time. I talked to some of my teachers as well as the principal, Mr. Kerman, and I got permission to survey prospect students in our Thursday advisory class with great results. Here I have a question. That's okay. um, sorry. Okay. I got some very interesting data was collected from the 48 responses to the survey, which I thought was great considering how small of a school we are. Here are some of the results that I found important. 41% of students at Prospect do not eat breakfast. 75% of those students who did not eat breakfast have a harder, it reported that we have a harder time learning. 29% of students had a hearty good breakfast. 64% of students who did not eat breakfast did so intentionally out of realization of how it affects them. This data from my survey shows that an overwhelming number of Prospect students are negatively affected by their lack of nutrition. Positively and negatively, unhealthy food in your diet, such as those rich in fat and sugar, causes inflammation, which inhibits the transfer of this information. It also wears out the neurons with a poor diet. I just wanted to bring awareness that a lot of our Prospect students don't have a healthy diet, and that it is what they are needing to have a healthy, happy, and successful life. Please take this under consideration as you look at the needs of Prospect high school students. I'll take any questions you might have about my project, the data, and or being a Prospect student. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's great stuff right there. And I feel horrible because I ate ice cream supplied by Mrs. King, and then I had those doors tonight.
But not for breakfast.
So let me ask you. I mean, you polish that up? Take that to superintendent of California schools, Dr. Tony Thurman. He'd be rich. But I mean, so what's your answer? I mean, how do we solve that? Is there breakfast supplied at school?
Yes, there is. But my data shows so on the survey I asked questions about sleep too. I got a bunch of health questions answered, and my ideology on it is that I want to somehow, because the data shows most people, Prospect students, get too much sleep. We're too tired with too much sleep. We're more tired with more amounts of sleep. And therefore, we wake up, we're late to first period, and we skip breakfast because breakfast at Prospect is before the first bell.
Should have a first period cycling class.
But yeah.
Did you share all your
Yeah.
research with your classmates?
No, I have not. Hopefully to get, maybe some sort of idea.
Is there PE at Prospect? Do you get exercise?
I don't believe so. Yeah.
Depends on the block, but talking to this girl about this today, this is mine and participation. But I do have an answer for the fellow. I do have my own throwing classes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a couple ideas, but maybe a vending machine for granola bars and fruit, or a bear box or something.
I've actually seen those healthy food vending boxes.
Something that's
I would, but I would get some healthy different items and put them on every student's desk with some orange juice in the morning. And so when they walk into class, their stuff is sitting there. I know with my kids, I had to force feed them a lot. And so, you know, because it is too, it's hard. When kids get there late, they don't get anything to eat, things go downhill, and then you can try your study at the end of the year and see if they're doing any better.
Yeah, so basically, I think how I am wanting to go about it is it's hard to not force, but bring something on to students who
You know,
weren't
yeah, right.
raised with the idea, like the want to do something like this or the want to take care of themselves, you know, so it's hard to bring this to a group of people my age. Hopefully that my age range changes that instead of it being from an adult, you know, from a student's perspective. I'm bringing this and trying to at least just bring awareness.
Right.
At least.
I think you're going to be a great school administrator.
I do. I do.
You're doing a really,
Yeah.
really good thing. Really good.
Thank
And,
you.
you know,
Maybe even challenge your classmates to eat a healthy diet for a period of time and then revisit your questions.
but they have to have the things, you know, at home to eat if they're late. I mean, I just don't see why you can't eat during class. I mean, maybe that's not very classy, but it's the job done.
I think it's also the awareness of like, so some of my studies, like some of the responses that I got, like a couple of them were just, of course, like teenagers, like a monster, you know,
Yeah,
for
sure.
breakfast
Sure.
or coffee,
Yeah.
you know, which I didn't even count that. But it's like the awareness of eating nutritional, like the value of eating nutritionally, like of good source food. That is hard to come across when we aren't, at least my range of age, it's not very taught.
Sure, and if they haven't been brought up with that, and you're trying to think of
Exactly.
something you like, I'll bring you 20,000 oranges, okay, and you can slice those up for the morning.
And I want
Yeah.
to personally apologize for eating that ice cream.
No.
I feel horrible.
No, it's happiness too, and it's mostly in school that I see it where we aren't, you know, it's not that we're not taught, you know, the big plate where you have
Yeah.
the meat, the rice, it's just about how you're feeling when you come to school, when you're at a pivotal moment in your life, age, a teenager, your brain is developing, so like you were learning, you were gathering, and if you're not taking care of yourself, or at least taught in routine how to take care of yourself, I don't know if that's the generational cycle will continue.
You familiar with Joey Chestnut?
No.
He's a hot dog eating champion of the world.
Mhm.
Okay, he's like 75 in 10 minutes. You could have like a carrot eating contest out of possible,
Yeah,
or something healthy eating.
yeah,
And make it fun.
yeah.
So Bella, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have Mrs. Deadmore, who's my director of food services, contact you. I'm gonna have her work with Mr. Kerman, and I want her to talk to you and take some of your ideas and see if you can work with her and maybe get the vending machine going. Or maybe some ideas you have. And so I'm gonna have her get a hold of you and at Prospect. And so I'd like to hear how that ends up, okay?
Okay.
All right?
And we're starting something new tonight. Right now, you're in the lead of the top student speaker of the year so far. You've won hands down.
Thank
You're
you.
great.
Doing good things.
But, you know, I want to ask you one more thing. See, now you brought all it up. Anyway, you know, because the vending machine takes money, right?
Yeah.
So why couldn't you just have some big baskets of really healthy, like granola bars or oranges? People don't want to peel oranges anymore. But, you know, things out for kids. Why couldn't, when they walked into class, grab a granola bar or something?
Yeah.
Because I totally believe about the fact of the kids without breakfast and sometimes without lunch, that their learning is diminished by that.
Yeah, and it's definitely by choice. You know, I can't force
Yeah.
anybody.
Oh, no,
To-
no, right.
Yeah, all I can do is teach for the best of my,
Yeah.
like, that's what I hope for, is to
Yeah.
have a big enough something to be able to
Yeah.
teach. And
Well, come back at the end of the year and tell us what you did,
Yeah,
and
please.
if it made any difference.
Okay.
And don't
thank you.
give up. You're doing great work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just
Okay.
want to quickly say Prospect is represented here. I think we're all here for Prospect.
Yeah.
I mean, the next speaker has a lot to live up to. You got hard to follow that. So, and we'll, yeah. Not board comments yet. We're over here. Recognition of individuals who wish to speak on non-agenda items. Is there any?
Thank you, Prospect.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Okay, recognition of individuals who wish to speak on agenda items.
Mr. Oaks is going to speak on 23.
23, okay. All right, board comments. I have nothing. Anybody? Bonnie's healing fast and she'll be up to full speed soon.
Congrats to the championship teams and lots of
Yeah.
good stuff on student achievement, extracurricular on the webpage. Really good stuff.
Some front page stuff there. Dr. Willenberg, comments.
We will send this out to you, but scholarship awards, we're already talking about it, is Orville High will be May 18th at 6 p.m. at State Theater, and LP will be May 25th at 7 at the State Theater. And we'll make sure you get that closer, but I know some of you have calendars that fill up quickly. And then I believe top 10 is like May 11th or
Second, May 11th, I think. Yeah. It's always the second Thursday.
okay, perfect.
Behind in the last one, so we have the May 18th, and the other one was
LP on May 25th. So right now, we're monitoring the trailer bills that came out with the governor's original budget. And so there's a lot of work in Sacramento coming out. We don't know what the July 1st budget will look like. The governor's proposed an 8.13% COLA, but some people are predicting that that may not happen because the tax revenues are not as good as they first projected. But they're proposing an LCFF equity multiplier, which would affect our schools because not all of them would get money for that because you have to be over 85% in a certain population. And so I believe when Susan did the initial calculation, if it's passed, LP wouldn't receive any funding, and Orville would. They're changing the LCAP language, and they're going to change dashboard indicators. So we won't know what it looks like until we get there with the May revise and then the final budget. But just keeping you posted on that. We're currently recruiting for a librarian. Mr. McCutcheon is retired, so we flew it in-house for 5 days. Didn't receive any interest, so we're going to fly it nationwide. We're hiring 4 English teachers right now, 2 at LP, 1 at Orville, 1 at Prospect. Hiring a social studies teacher at Las Plumas and a severely handicapped, a mod severe teacher at Las Plumas, and an RSP resource teacher at Las Plumas to backfill Mr. Olhausen, who next year will replace Mrs. Hutton at Independent Study because she's going to retire. We're attending a virtual job fair, state job fair next week, and then we'll go to Chico State in March. We're working on building 23-24 master schedules for LP and Orville. Prospects is a little different, so that'll be a little later in the spring. And then on March 6th, via Zoom at 5 o'clock, we will have an LCAP meeting. And then April 3rd in person here at 5 o'clock. And we're sending out the LCAP survey to parents, students, community members, and that hopefully by the end of the week. And then we're also using Thrive's input for LCAP. We're using the transportation plan because we have to survey people with that. And we're also using the arts and music block grant. And then plus every meeting that we go to, we turn into an LCAP meeting because we do receive input on things we should do for kids. So that's my report right now.
Does Mr. McCutcheon have enough years in to retire?
It's the second time, Scott.
51 years.
Is that right?
Oh, wow.
53?
He's been librarian since once.
Pardon me?
He's been librarian since I was 9.
He and I are the same. He and I are the same age.
Dr. Watts?
Ditto on Corey's report. I was going to report on the governor's budget, so I won't go over that again. If you get a chance, drive by the district office or
Looks
look at it
nice.
on your way out. It
Oh,
looks
look
nice.
nice.
Yeah,
Big
nice.
difference.
Really nice.
You probably want to go to work there for another 3-4 years now, huh?
Yeah. Every time I look at it, it's like, whoa, it really looks
It's gonna be
different.
hard. It's gonna be hard for you. Mr. Wood?
Just highlight some of the things that I'm working on. Met with the counselors and with Mr. Oakes. I met with Mr. Oakes today, but the counselors yesterday. They are wanting to look at how we do credit recovery, what our options are for credit recovery. We've got a big demand for credit recovery, but we're running into issues where we just aren't being able to serve kids that need credit recovery. So we're going to try to troubleshoot and figure out some ways we can get some more credit recovery options.
How do they get, what exactly do they take to get credit recovery?
Yeah, so right now they work with Mr. Oakes and his program, and it's pretty much they're using Edgenuity, which is an online platform which allows them to do it. It's a flexible thing, but there's only so many spots that we have available in that. And
Well,
so
they
we,
don't come to class.
mm-mm,
Oh.
mm-mm. Yeah, and so, we have to prioritize seniors, juniors, and so by the time we get there, freshmen, sophomores are generally out of luck. And so they just stay behind the 8 ball. And so they have to wait until they get their turn. So we're looking to find ways to offer more so we can get kids out of holes quicker. Working with like the registrars and some of the secretaries to really look at their processes and things to see where we can tighten up and streamline things across the district so that we have a district process, not a building process, so that way, if we do end up with turnover in those areas, we have common practices so it's easier to transition somebody new into positions. So we started that process today. They're working on getting me some lists of things that they do and the things they want to look at and start kind of looking at. So we're going to go through that process. I don't know if it has too much to do with education and the director of ed, but it's something that if we can become more efficient at some of these things, we can focus more of our energy on educating kids. So, and then yesterday I dropped the needs assessment for our PLC reboot. And basically we're asking all kinds of questions about essential standards and unit planning and scope and sequences. And are we using assessments, common assessments, formative assessments, summatives? Are we providing interventions? Does our master schedule provide opportunities for, a whole list of questions and things. I dropped that yesterday. Have been looking through the results so far. We've got, I think I'm up to about 60 results, 60 responses so far. And some of the questions I asked were things like some of the open-ended questions were things like, we always hear about, we have too much on our plate. Well, how do we define that? And what would you do to define that? And so I'm getting some really interesting and innovative kind of thoughts around that. Asking about if you had to tackle, what would you tackle first? What would be your priority? What stands in our way? What are roadblocks you possibly see? And so I'm going to compile all that, and I'm going to take that back to the subject area coordinating teams and the content areas, and we're going to start planning on how we're going to move forward with rebooting that stuff.
Happy with the response?
So far, yeah.
So far?
Yeah, I want more because 60 is not nearly as many as I want, but it's been 24 hours and I've got 60, so I'll take that. The response has been pretty favorable, just that we're even having this conversation. I've been real transparent with them and have said, I don't know what this is going to look like moving forward, but I don't know where we are. And so we've got to learn where we are before we can learn where we go. And so that's what I've been spending a lot of time just listening and trying to figure out where are we at and what do we want to do and what do we need to accomplish. And then from there, we can build some goals and transition things. So if the board would like, I could share that data with you when it's all compiled, and I can kind of tell you what I've learned and some of the next steps we're going to get from that. But it's been taken between that and ordering curriculum for Oroville High for Kristen and all her new classes. That's what I've been doing lately. So.
Thank you. Okay, DOJ report.
So in front of you, I put a draft of the community bulletin. Part of our stipulated agreement says that we have to publish data out to the public twice a year, at least twice a year. And we have to report it to DOJ monthly. I'm waiting for DOJ to approve this, but there's a lot of things that are stipulated in the agreement. We have to have data on grades, on suspensions, expulsions, etc. But then we also took an opportunity to talk about the Thrive process in this bulletin this time. So, and then we have to let the community know our guiding principles. So what we'll do is once DOJ, so it's on the third page, the visioning process. And so we talk about it so the community will get another look at it. And then we'll translate it into Hmong and Spanish for the community. But if you look at the major pieces in the first semester, we had 12 referrals to law enforcement. So that's arrest, cite, or a mental health referral. 320 in CIS and 10 expulsions. And our attendance rate district-wide for all students was 91.71%. Our grad rate last year, I was really happy about this. I want it to be better, but 87.9 is an increase from 83.5 the prior year. So
To the prior year?
2021, it was 83.5%.
What was the year before that?
It was 90. So it's fluctuated a little bit. And then we had 74 suspensions during the first semester, 32 at LP, 35 at Orville, and 2 at Prospect. And so any questions on DOJ? And they will probably come visit in April.
Okay, item 10, the quarterly Williams Act complaint report.
Every quarter, we're
Is that
required to report if there's a misassignment, a facility complaint, or an instructional material complaint per the Williams Act. We have not received any complaints during the last quarter.
Good. Old business, there is none. Consent calendar. Do I have a motion for approval? And a second? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. New business, item 23, resolution of intention to eliminate certificated position. Dr. Wimberg.
So the district's seeking approval to eliminate up to 3.5 full-time or 3.0 full-time equivalent certificated positions in the independent study program. One of the positions will be vacated due to a retirement. The other 2 positions would be eliminated if the teachers are needed to fill vacancies on a campus through the involuntary transfer process. So we're recruiting teachers now. If we can't fill those, we may have to move independent study teachers to fill those vacancies at the campus, because the last 2 years, we've had a problem making sure that all our vacancies were full.
Okay, so we hear Mr. Oaks first, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Oaks, come forward, please.
Blue is good, right? So I realize that the layoffs in front of you are basically conditional. I'm here to advocate for 2 of the spots to stay in independent study, and it's mostly based on data that I have as far as enrollment numbers. Right now, just so you understand, this is for regular ed independent study positions. The special ed, the 2 special ed teachers aren't included in this whatsoever. So I'm just dealing with regular education numbers. Currently, right now, I have 9.5 or 9.6 independent study teachers on the regular ed side. That's I can put about about 285 kids in there, maximum.
What is in there now? You could put, but what is?
What is in there right now? I'm 5 short, so 280. If we by dropping the one teacher that is retiring, that would drop the maximum to 255. If we reduced one from there, it'd be 225. If all 3 were gone, that would max that program out at 6.5 teachers up 195 spots. I currently have 200 students who have reserved a spot for next year. I have 28 students on the wait list. Of those on the wait list, 19 were put on that wait list since 2 weeks ago when we met in the workshop. 7 of those students on that wait list are coming in from the middle school, and that doesn't even include all of them that will probably apply to be on independent study because the counselors haven't put all of them on there yet. I have added 13 students to the regular.
Can I ask a question? I don't want to forget. So what do you feel the benefits are of children being on independent study instead of in the regular classroom? I mean, you know, I really don't like I can say this, but for certain things, why is it better to be studying more instead of less and try to get them back?
Because they won't go. A lot of the students that get referred to independent studies because they won't go to class on campus. They have anxiety. They've been bullied. They have medical issues. The reasons that I get on the referral sheets are range from want to graduate early to death in the family to anxiety. I mean, kids just don't.
Well, yeah, well,
COVID did a number on it.
it's easy.
You ever get a?
I mean, not
easier-
easy.
It's easier.
Oh, they always think it's easier, sure, but we've increased the
You don't-
rigor through
You don't think
use
it
of.
is?
No, it's different. So
Different, not easier.
right. These students are still using. So we're utilizing Edgenuity, which is an A to G approved curriculum, right? They can take up to. We're not offering AP classes, but they can take up to those classes. The curriculum that we use in the paper packets is the same curriculum that the kids get on campus. It's just they don't go to school every day, go to 6 different classes, see 6 different teachers, get tardies, get unexcused absences. It's a different learning. It's a different way of learning.
Okay, so
And
let
what's
me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Is this done in a classroom?
Yes,
Okay, so it's in a classroom. They can come to that classroom,
yes.
but they couldn't go to a regular classroom. For
They come
whatever
to that
reason.
one classroom once a week to meet with their teacher
Okay,
For
so
how
they come
long?
once a week
for an hour.
for an hour, and they come one at a time.
Yes.
But don't you think there's something in the comprehensive high schools that kids learn from following rules, going to school, trying not to be tardy, learning to get along with a bunch of teachers and with, you know, I mean,
Oh yeah, the majority of the students that go on the majority of the students that go to school can learn those things, but because COVID did such a number on these kids, they can't function on these campuses. If you look at the attendance rates for a lot of the students, there's kids that they just not coming to school whatsoever, and so those students that get referred to independent study, it's a way back in to an education for a lot of them.
what percentage do you think of the students that are not coming to school applied to independent study?
I would say it's significant. I couldn't give you a number. I can go out if I have my wait list in front of me. I can kind of see how many, how many I put notes on that they're not attending. I know that gone through my wait list for students that by the time that I was able to take them, they had already left the district and went to either a charter school or dropped out entirely. There's a lot of students sitting on the wait list right now who are waiting for a spot in independent study and won't go to school. What I'm advocating for is to keep those 2 positions to address the students that already have a reservation for next year, are currently on the wait list.
Yeah.
And then those students that could take advantage of it for whatever comes up. So some students are there temporarily. I have a few students that had recent surgeries that are there just for the quarter of
Well,
the semester.
sure.
So
That'd be
those come
great.
up.
Right.
What's happened is an independent study, I have always had a wait list. If I had 3 teachers in regular ed, I had a wait list. If I had 4, I had a wait list. When I had 15, I had a wait list. There's a constant wait list for the independent study program because kids aren't getting what they want on the campuses. This is an option. They can't get into Prospect because it's limited. There's limited spots. This is a happy medium.
What can't they get on campus?
They're not getting what they want. They're not, maybe they don't like being around crowds. I don't know what their reasons are, but this is an option for them to do it. When our independent study program was smaller, when I only had 4 regular ed teachers, we were losing kids to Hearthstone all day long. And what would happen is we'd lose them out of the district. They'd go to Hearthstone. They wouldn't do their thing there. They'd come back to the district, be farther behind in credit, and then eventually get in Prospect, or they wouldn't graduate. Okay. So by increasing when we increased independent study when we had COVID,
Yeah.
we were able to keep those kids in our district. All right. So it's slowly diminished over the last 2 years. We didn't replace 1 teacher last year. I still had a wait list of 90 at some point this year. I have 28 regular ed kids on the wait list. I have another 16 that are special ed. And I can't put those kids in there right now because they have, I have a teacher that's out on long-term leave. So
How do you do special ed at independent study?
very carefully.
No, I mean that.
They meet with them once a week. We have a paraeducator in there. We're constantly talking with them. Some kids come in more than once a week. We break up their assignments a little bit more. We don't give them as big chunks.
Well,
We have to offer independent study special ed per IEPs. We've had special ed independent study since I've been here, so it's required of us.
So,
Okay.
I mean, the work might not be easier, but I think it's a lot easier to go 1 day a week for 1 hour a week to a classroom than just get up every day and go. So that is easier. And I think that's probably the most attractive thing about it. That'd be my guess. I mean, everybody has an excuse for everything. And so, and the way it's written here, we can either what's your thoughts on filling the vacancy of the campus teachers when that's been a problem since COVID to fill those positions?
What's my thought about it?
Yeah, I mean, the way this is written is we would like, the administration would like to have those teachers available to fill in the vacancies that are for on campus.
So if you took let's say you took, we're not going to replace the 1. So we're talking about 2 really.
Okay.
By taking the 2, the students that are currently in independent study, I would have to send some back who might not want to even be there. And they may go find another program. So they would leave the district. If we sent those 2 teachers back, they haven't been in the regular program. 1 is new this year. Well, I'm assuming, I don't know who these 2 teachers would be, but my assumption is they've been out of the regular system. And so they would have to relearn how everything it works on a campus.
well, some of them haven't been that long.
I know, I get that.
Right.
So,
That's short 2, and what happens if regular comprehensive schools are short, you can't find any teachers, then
You get sued.
Then our first priority is to try to fill the vacancy.
right.
And if we can't, then sometimes they're subs. And so I think our first priority has to be the seat time program every day, Prospect, LP, Orville. And so I just want enough flexibility that I can move them and not be forced to fill those positions back. And yeah, we'll probably lose some kids, because I did oversee independent study. They go. And you have a lot of kids that go in it. You have kids that go in for work. college, so they're doing a little mix of each. They're taking their high school credits and then they're doing concurrent enrollment at Butte College. You also, in the special ed realm, Mrs. King asked this, is we have kids that are so fragile and they're on IEPs, they can't come to a seat time program every day. So they're getting their required work, and it was an IEP decision that lays out what they did. And some of them do independent study and then go on to the campus a couple times a week or once a week. So
Are those kids evaluated? I mean, is that, how do you come to that decision that they're,
So because we're a high school district, they were probably put on an IEP back in when they were little guys. And so that IEP follows them unless they exit.
so it's not so much COVID, it's just,
IEPs, it's
well, I mean, you're talking about when they're little guys, they're
So-
not in high school yet, so that was pre-COVID, right?
right.
Yeah.
So it's not so much a COVID thing?
No, it's a disability
No.
thing.
Okay.
No, but the COVID thing is we used to have one special ed independent study teachers, now we have two. So
But that doesn't, I mean, I don't see, if you only have two, and they need one kid a day for 7 hours a day, that's 7.
no. They meet one kid every hour, so they can meet, the independent study teachers can meet up to 30 kids a week. Their caseload is 30.
Right.
So
But
it's
it's
1
daily.
So
hour,
if
so
you
they
have-
see 6 kids a day for 1 hour a week, or 1 hour each, 5 days a week,
That's 30 kids,
30 kids.
and 2 teachers would be 60.
Correct.
You're talking about 280.
No, that's special ed. Special ed's different.
Okay.
I'm talking, the resolution is for to move regular ed teachers.
Jeff, I missed this. What was your verified applications for 23-24 non-special ed? How many?
Non-special ed, I have 200 that we verified. The reservations that we had, and this is including some of the ones that came in during the week of the reservation. So we had an online form that we sent out to everybody. We had a bunch that filled it out. Then the ones that didn't fill out, we had the teachers check with them and verified them with their parents that they wanted to stay for next year. The new students that came in, we checked with them, and even since then, we picked up 13 kids.
So was this program initially started for special ed? Is that the idea of it? Or
No,
was
this has been, independent study's been going for a very long time.
Yeah, and at first it's more medical type of.
Yeah, it was developed for, and if you look at the history, it's for students that had medical issues, students that were traveled with the parents, kid actors, athletes. You know, that's how it was developed.
Susan, how many kids does a regular average teacher see every day in a comprehensive high school?
Well, I can tell you,
175.
173 is
Three.
the contract.
yeah,
And we have most teachers that are not seeing 173, but the 173 is contractual. Each teacher could see
Right,
up to
yep.
that.
so I kind of wanted that information myself. So I went through the English teachers at Oroville High, and they have an average of 24.6 per class, average.
Mhm. How
LP
many
has,
classes?
huh?
Times how many classes? 6?
5.
Five.
LP has an average of 29. So MICE teachers have an average between 28 and 30, depending on
And even
what.
that's 50 kids under the contracted.
So my teachers are contracted at 30 is their cap, and most of them have 30 at any given time. But because of the fluid nature of the enrollments, they might have 30 this week. Some might go down to 29 or 28 and backfill it in there. So we process a lot of kids throughout the year. So I'm here tonight to advocate to keep the 2 positions. I'm going to have some attrition over the next few years with retirements. There's one more teacher retiring at the end of next year that I know about. After that, there might be 1 and 2 or 3 years down the road. We're still coming out of COVID, and we're still dealing with the kids that did not find success in during those 2 years of COVID. If we have the opportunity for them to do independent study, they can do all the things in high school. They can play sports, they can do the clubs. They just don't go on campus. No, it's not the same program as if they are on campus.
How many of them do? Oh, I'm sorry.
But
do
they
play?
have to. The part of the thing is that for the kids to want.
Sorry. I was just asking, how many independent study kids do you play sports?
There's a handful. Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head. It's, you know, they still have to have a 2.0 GPA and have attendance and all that to go. But the other aspect of it, where was I? Is because we're still coming out of COVID. We're still dealing with those kids that haven't been on a campus in a while. If we keep these two in place and we have attrition over time, then we'll be able to level out a little bit. But if we don't have this opportunity for kids, we're going to have a lot of kids that don't come to school. So I'm just worried about that. I'm worried about losing kids.
What reason would a teacher give to come in independent study?
What reason would a teacher give to come to
Yeah.
independent study? I get a lot of veteran teachers that come because they're
Tired.
They could be tired. During COVID, it was totally different. They were like, "There's a spot in independent study. I'm in." They didn't want to teach online, right? So, I have a couple teachers that told me if I hadn't come to independent study, I probably would have retired a couple years early.
Well, yeah, but that's a whole nother deal.
I'm telling you. He asked
I know,
why they come to. Why
I totally
teachers.
understand that.
Yeah.
I've heard that too, you know, and they want it off campus. And, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't vote with you because I don't truly believe that independent study, I'm sure is good for some kids,
Mhm.
but I believe we have to look at our comprehensive high schools first and I know some different teachers that went to you and I'm going, wow, they've got the cream over the crop over there at independent study. And that shouldn't be, I don't think. This is just me. I'm just telling you what I think.
Well, I
Yeah.
came tonight to advocate for my
Sure, yeah.
for
And you
those
did a
positions.
You did a good job.
So I just wanted you to understand that, you know, if it goes there, then there's going to have to be some ramifications. What will happen is I will be limited in the number of spots that I can offer next year. I won't be able to take those emergency cases. I probably won't have kids will sit on the wait list for a semester and then we might lose them somewhere else. They might not come at all. The thing about independent study is it offers them an opportunity for an education that they're not finding on the campuses, right? So what is the reason a kid would go to go on campus for an education, right? We have sports for kids, we have clubs, we have other things, but there's a lot of stuff on the campuses right now that are like driving them away.
Plus, I think that a lot of this has to do with parents where they've just gotten lazy.
Could be.
Okay, thanks, Jeff.
You bet.
Thank
Did you make a motion then? Bonnie, are you making a
Jeff, you
motion?
did a good job. I'm sorry.
Are you making a motion?
Do you want me to? What am I?
Well, you just did, kind of.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the resolution. Is that right, Corey?
Do we have a second? Do we have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 24, Committee on Assignments Waiver Request, elective classes. Dr. Willenberg.
So, pursuant to Ed Code 44-258-17, the Committee on Assignments is recommending the following teachers to teach in a special assignment area for 22-23. Brian Legowski is our communication teacher. We have students that want driver education. So the law allows the board to approve him to teach driver's ed because there's no credentials attached to it, and he wants to do it. And so we're recommending approval of the Committee on Assignments.
Do I have a motion for approval? Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 25, Purging Old Special Education Files.
Yep, section.
So section 437C and 16027 of Title V California Code of Regulations authorize school districts to destroy students' education records 3 years after students leave the district or the usefulness of the record ceases. Pursuant to that authority, the district intends to destroy all special education student records in its possession for students who graduated or otherwise disenrolled from the district on or before June 30th, 2018. A notice will be posted in the newspaper to allow prior students to pick up their file by contacting the Ed Services Office no later than May 31st of 2023. It's recommended for approval.
Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second? Comments or questions?
Just posted in the newspaper or just be posted on?
We'll post on our social medias and stuff. But yeah, the newspaper is the official one we have to do, and then the rest we just do out of courtesy.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 26, acceptance of bid for cabling services. Dr. Willenberg.
Mr. Brown is seeking approval to accept a bid from Comer Communications in the amount of $27,842.03 for cabling services at LP, Orville, and PHS. This is an E-rate expense, so the district only has to fund 15% of this project.
Is there a motion for approval?
Second.
Comments or questions? For $3,000 we get that? Wow. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Why is that? Is that just a grant or something?
E-rate is a program that is funded through, the technology, the communication awards. And so it's based on the number of free and reduced meals students
Oh, okay.
have. So we have a high percentage.
Yes. Item 27, acceptance of bid for network equipment. Dr. Willenberg.
So Mr. Legrone is seeking approval to accept the bid from CDWG in the amount of $220,044.01 for network equipment at LP, OHS, and PHS. This is an E-rate expense, so the district only has to fund 15% of the project.
Do I have a motion for approval? Second?
Second.
Comments or questions? Go E-rate. All in favor? I wish everything was E-rate. E-rate. Item 28, 22-23 district safety plan. Dr. Willenberg.
So by March 1st, every year, we have to post the district safety plan online. And due to having less than 2,500 students, the district is required to complete a district plan rather than individual school plans. The enclosed plan was revised by school staff and reviewed by stakeholders, including law enforcement. We don't have the maps in it because I don't make those public, but each school site will get the maps.
Recommendations for approval.
Second.
Comments or questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. 29, fee waiver request. Dr. Willenberg.
So Las Plumas High School's PTSA is requesting a waiver of $2,760 in facility fees to use both gyms on June 2nd for Safe Grad Night. And we're recommending approval.
Second. Comments or questions? This is something we do all the time, right?
We've done it for 2 or 3 years.
Right.
Still, there'll be some custodial costs, but the facility fees per your policy will be waived.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 30, amended personnel assignment order. Motion for approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 31, expulsion case 11-22-23.
So this one?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I make a motion that expulsion case 11-22-23 be expelled for the remainder of the 22-23 school year and first semester of the 23-24 school year, and then be referred to Butte County Community School to continue their education.
So I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 32, expulsion case 12-22-23.
I make a motion that expulsion case 12-22-23 be expelled for the remainder of the 22-23 school year and the first semester of the 23-24 school year, and be referred to Butte County Community School to continue their education.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Items for next agenda.
We're going to be bringing you the Arts and Music Block Grant plan, and we're going to be bringing you a transportation plan for your approval.
Okay. We will adjourn into closed session just for a few.
I want to see how you're doing on that, getting more kids in the credit recovery. That sounded really interesting, so they don't get behind and then they're not.
Would anyone like to push Bonnie?
Are you tired already?
Great job.